Let's start with Nvidia. We say it's a moment in markets history. It broke its own record, but it's one of the bigger positions you hold, Denny. So when you see the red headline on the Bloomberg terminal, how do you react? How does that make you think?
Well, I think, Nvidia has been a remarkable stock for the last year and a half, and that's primarily been because of the financial performance. I mean, the ramp in revenues that we've seen with its AI chips and GPUs is like nothing we've ever seen before. And, where the market's at right now, it's really this push and pull. And what we've seen, if you just look at the hyperscaler earnings so far, and particularly the CapEx forecasts, the market is just really hinging on every word that we're hearing. And, effectively what we've heard is that nobody's blinking. And you have seen CapEx go up at Google, you've seen CapEx go up at Microsoft, and you're seeing CapEx go up at Meta, and all of those companies seem to be implying that there's no end in sight, at least, through 2025, and that should be good for Nvidia. And, if we actually look at the other data points in the industry, AMD just reported, and the numbers were fine, but, it's really just a really, really small fraction of the amount of AI-related chips that NVIDIA is selling, and NVIDIA's embarking on probably its most significant product cycle ever with Blackwell, as it goes to a full systems approach this fall.
In a surprising turn of events that has put the entire stock market community on high alert, Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, has made a significant investment move. Known for her uncanny knack for stock market predictions, Pelosi's latest trade could be a groundbreaking signal for investors everywhere. But what exactly did she see in Nvidia that prompted her to double down on this renowned tech stock? And why did she suddenly decide to offload some of her Microsoft shares in the process? Hints of upcoming catalysts in the artificial intelligence sector have been circulating, but Pelosi's substantial investment in Nvidia adds a layer of credibility that's hard to ignore. Equally intriguing are her simultaneous transactions involving Nvidia, call options, Broadcom, and the sudden disposal of Tesla shares. While financial experts and market analysts scramble to decipher this, one thing is certain. Pelosi's trading activities continue to capture headlines and inspire a surge of market interest. With other prominent politicians following suit, the stakes just got higher. So why Nvidia, and why now? Let's delve into the intricacies behind this bold investment move and explore its potential implications for investors. But first, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
So actually, I ask you about that specific point. I've discussed with Jensen Huang the annual cadence of new product refresh. But the bit that's kind of concerning or hard to understand is, what about all those companies, the hyperscalers, but also others, that invested at the H100 generation? And they may have only just got that capacity online. And then suddenly, they have the option or choice of whether they buy the next cutting edge generation of chip, upgrade. And I think that Jensen's probably talked to you as well, right, about the ability to swap in and out those generation of GPU quite easily. But it's hard to fathom, really.
Yeah, well, what's really interesting, and I'll give you a couple data points. Last night, Mark Zuckerberg announced this publicly. He talked about that Llama 4, which is the next iteration of their open source large language model that they just, have been evolving, is going to require 10x the compute that Llama 3 required. And why that's important is, if you talk to the leaders in industry, you'll hear a comment. And that comment is, we want tomorrow's GPUs. And the reason you hear that comment is because one of the single biggest bottlenecks to actually advancing these large language models, whether it's OpenAI, Anthropic, Google with Gemini, Llama, whatever it might be, you need increased compute power. And that is exactly what Blackwell brings. And so the important part for these companies is making sure that they have the ability to actually create fungibility with the GPUs so that when you use H100s and then you're going to move to Blackwell, you can actually use those H100s for inference, or you can use them for other parts of your company. Whether for Microsoft that could be to support Office 365 and Copilot, or GitHub Copilot, or in Meta's case to support the recommendation engine, or content creation, or whatever it may be. And so having that fungibility of the GPUs, but then also having the ability to lean in hard to the latest generation so that you can push the envelope with these frontier models.
Nancy Pelosi's stock market moves aren't just idle curiosity. They often serve as a barometer for intriguing shifts in the financial landscape. Speaking of which, her bold stance on Nvidia shares has sparked considerable chatter among market enthusiasts. Imagine the sense of validation investors must feel when their investment strategy aligns with someone whose trading antics are so renowned that Nancy Pelosi stocks became a commonly used phrase. On to Nvidia, a titan in the semiconductor arena and an unrelenting force in artificial intelligence (AI) innovations. Despite a rocky month that saw NVDA stock tumble by 5%, Pelosi appears unfazed, viewing this dip as a timely opportunity to acquire shares at a discount. According to Quiver Quantitative, Pelosi purchased 10,000 Nvidia shares on July 26th, spending an estimated $1 million to $5 million. Her bullish stance is significant as Pelosi's portfolio has swayed the market before, sometimes leaving a trail of lucrative gains. With a portfolio historically focused 65% on the information technology sector, Pelosi's Nvidia gamble appears informed by more than just market trends. It seems strategic. Out of 41 Wall Street analysts on tip ranks, 37 have rated NVDA as a buy, underscoring the widespread confidence in Nvidia's growth prospects. Interestingly, her decision to scale back on Microsoft due to its cloud computing challenges further illuminates her investment rationale. To put it lightly and with a dash of sarcasm, predicting market moves is about as easy as guessing the number of jelly beans in a jar. Yet Pelosi's investment choices often resemble a seasoned gambler with a loaded deck. Her recent trades, including buying 20 call options of Broadcom with a strike price of $800 expiring in June 2025, suggest she's charting a course deeply intertwined with the rise of AI. But that's not all of it, so let's dive into the rest. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Investocracy.
Miss Megan Brantley to the show. Megan, we're covering Nvidia. It's a fun topic on a day like this, and actually we could turn this into the Nvidia show if we really wanted to. But I looked at your charts, and one thing comes out to me, and that is powerful that Nvidia has going on right now. Give us your interpretation of the Leckfolio data.
Whenever we look at NVIDIA, and I feel like we've been saying this for some time, this company is best of breed in its space, but it's also best of breed just among innovators, even outside of when you think of AI. Whenever we look at different tailwinds, it's almost a matter of, pick your favorite tailwind for NVIDIA. Is it autonomous driving? Is it robotics? Is it, this massive transition of data centers into this advanced computing, what they call AI factories? I think this is driving a lot of interest in NVIDIA and its technology. And honestly, from what we're seeing, it's that demand is so high, we're not sure NVIDIA can even keep up. And so I think that is the story. It's a great spot to be if you're NVIDIA. And this, whenever we break this down for leaders, I think AMD could be a close or a second place, but I'm not sure that it's even close to NVIDIA, and we're still bullish on AMD. So I think that, whenever we look at NVIDIA right now, we see it trading, I think it's down over 20% from June highs. Whenever we see pullbacks like this, historically, these are gifts to long-term investors.
Now, in the age of deep learning and machine learning, NVIDIA has positioned itself uniquely. NVIDIA's proprietary AI platform boasts GPU-accelerated deep learning frameworks, allowing businesses to develop digital neural networks even without a GPU programming background. This capability makes NVIDIA indispensable, offering substantial value add across industries from automotive to healthcare. Thus, it is no wonder that Pelosi and her colleagues like Representative Josh Gottheimer and Morgan McGarvey also find NVIDIA a lucrative investment, as seen in their recent purchase of shares. In her latest move, Pelosi offloaded 2,500 Tesla shares, One wonders if she's securing liquidity or cutting potential short-term losses. Tesla, known for its volatility, may indeed have seemed like a riskier bet, especially if Nvidia offers predictable growth and extensive market applicability. Financial experts also support Pelosi's optimism about Nvidia. As investor places Dmytro Spilka asserts, Nvidia has retained a close focus on machine learning and, in particular, its deep learning subset. When a firm dedicates significant resources to cutting-edge tech like this, savvy investors take note. Nvidia's advancements are not merely reactive but chart a forward-thinking strategy poised to capitalize on emerging tech trends. The fact that NVDA stock only comprises around 2% of Pelosi's portfolio, despite multiple purchases, suggests a cautious but bullish approach, one that other investors might consider worthy of emulation. So tempting is the allure of Nvidia, given its robust innovations and market positioning, that politicians' collective interest signals profound institutional faith in its future. Does this scenario sound too perfectly aligned to ignore? It's akin to watching a seasoned chess master set up a checkmate several moves in advance. The convergence of political interest, AI sector advancements, and seasoned analysis suggests something significant is brewing in Nvidia's realm. So should Pelosi's recent moves influence you as an investor? Let's find out. But first, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Let's turn now to a big story here this week. We're taking a closer look at the tech trade. Nvidia is the next big test for the market when you take into account earnings. But as it stands right now, you got to look at the moves that we've seen in Nvidia today and this week. Taking a look at today's moves, you're looking at another day of losses off nearly 7%. As it stands right now, when you take a look at tech overall, the NASDAQ 100 is down more than 5% this month, meaning that August is already tracking for the worst month of the year. And we're only in day 2 of the trading day here for the month of August. So here to discuss what's ahead for tech, we want to bring in Ayoka Yoshioka, Senior Portfolio Manager at Wealth Enhancement Group. It's great to have you, Ayoka, and thanks so much for taking the time to join us here this morning. I'm curious, we can start with Nvidia because that certainly has been a wild, volatile ride here this week. I think the initial read on some of these big tech earnings reports was that the spending that's planned here for AI, that is actually viewed very positively here for names like Nvidia. But since then, we've seen some selling action. So I'm curious what your big takeaway from this week's crazy week that has been is so far.
It's been definitely a much more volatile week than we are used to in markets. But we, started, I think, July with the VIX at 12. And so, perhaps markets were a little bit complacent, going into earnings season here. And so, now that we've had a good look at many of the tech earnings, we did see that spend and most likely going to NVIDIA for their GPUs. However, sentiment and the earnings bar was very high going into earnings season. And I think you're seeing a lot of that sort of come out just because expectations were very high. And the reports were okay, but nothing great.
As we wrap up, it's hard to overlook the signals Nancy Pelosi's latest trades send to the investor community. Her significant stake in Nvidia, coupled with call options on Broadcom, and the divestiture of Microsoft and Tesla shares, forms a compelling narrative. For those banking on Nvidia's AI-driven growth and innovative prowess, her moves offer both inspiration and validation. The current state of Nvidia stock may present short-term fluctuations, but the consensus among leading analysts and sophisticated investors like Pelosi underscore its long-term growth trajectory. In terms of tangible data, despite a slight downturn, NVDA stock is far from reaching its zenith. Analysts at TipRanks continue to endorse it, adding heft to bullish forecasts. These experts, backed by Nvidia's consistent focus on machine learning and proprietary AI platforms, predict an encouraging growth curve that aligns with Pelosi's investment timing. Thus, perhaps it's no coincidence that Nvidia attracts such focused interest. It seamlessly blends robust technology, market adaptability, and forward-thinking innovation, making it a powerhouse in both investor portfolios and actual market impact. As we reflect on Pelosi's recent trades, it's evident that Nvidia holds substantial promise, one that sophisticated investors may do well to consider. Before we close, let's not forget to ask, what do you think? Does Nvidia's blend of technological acumen and political backing make it an irresistible investment? Or do Tesla's peaks and Microsoft's stability offer better opportunities? Share your thoughts, and let's chart this financial journey together. Investing is, after all, a narrative we all partake in, driven by decisions, insights, and shared wisdom. With Nvidia's future looking promising, perhaps it's time to heed Pelosi's unspoken advice and consider where this technological behemoth might lead your portfolio. Engaging with these insights can surely pave the way for smarter, more informed investments. So now the floor is yours. Where do you stand in this unfolding narrative? Finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.